Yes, sir, what is your name? Chuck, and what'd you have done, Chuck? Quadruple bypass. Yes, I asked a guy one night, how many bypasses did you have? And he goes, I don't know, I was asleep. So, Chuck, did you have some sort of symptoms? Did you have, what encouraged you to get the bypass? Your doctor said it would be better to do it than wait for the heart attack. Did he have children in college or something? Was it a BMW payment to make, maybe? So you went in, maybe were you having chest pains? Were you nausea? Did you thought you were healthy? Yeah, okay. And so oftentimes I ask, what were you doing when you had the symptoms? And I had a fellow one night start giggling. So I'm thinking, uh-oh, little bone chicka wow wow. So I said, well, let me ask it a different way because it's a family show. Were you exerting yourself? He turns to his wife in a loud voice in front of everybody and goes, was I exerting myself? Well, I had an aortic valve transplant in 1995. Chuck. Yep, a friend of mine said, did you have a near-death experience? Yeah, when I got the bill. 37 grand. Yeah, my insurance company paid $1,500. My sister said, wait a minute, $1,500 on a $37,000 bill? What is that, the tip? Actually, are you American? The reason I ask you is I met a Canadian fellow. Had the same operation, almost the same time, 1995, and I said, I paid 37 grand, my insurance company paid $1,500. How much did you pay? And he said, $18. Canadian, what was the 18 bucks for? Parking, correct. And Chuck, he wasn't happy about that. Apparently, if he'd gone to another clinic, out in the suburbs, it would have been no charge. But that's all right. I don't care about the money, because A, I'm alive, B, the hospital agreed to accept installments. Yeah, they agreed to $25 a month, no interest. A friend of mine said out loud, I can't believe this, you gonna pay? First of all, it's $25. Second of all, it's an aortic heart valve. I mean, do you seriously want to meet that repo man? Somebody said to me, what if you have to have it done again? I just walk in the hospital, put it on my tab. Actually, you got the zipper? I just have the zipper of the scar down there. Which, by the way, is a great conversation piece because everybody wants to know. I'm in a gym in Los Angeles. I'm on a treadmill next to this bodybuilder who's not particularly bright. And I can see him checking out my scar in the mirror. And finally, he gets up his nerve. He goes, dude, what happened to you? I said, really, it was nothing. When I was born, I was delivered by cesarean section. And, radical. So the heart valve thing, Chuck, turned up in a couple of tests I had. Did you have your cholesterol checked at the time? Do you remember what your cholesterol was? Mine was 357. Yeah, it's not good news. On the chart, right by 357, 4 words, notify next of kin. Did you know that? I bet Chuck knows that. Next of kin is really the problem with cholesterol. 85% of your cholesterol level is genetic. Yeah, your forefathers. Apparently, one of my ancestors was told to suck eggs and did. They've had coronary problems ever since. And I had the angiogram. Did you have the angiogram? Do you remember that? They make a small incision in your... You have no clue, do you, Chuck? Heart surgery with memory loss. An odd combination. Yeah, the angiogram was my favorite. I'll tell you why. I had it done in the South, Raleigh, North Carolina, Wake Medical. The doctor comes in, the cardiologist, he goes, Mr. King, we're going to insert a probe into your femoral artery. And of course I said, how are we going to get it in there? He said, we're going to insert it through an opening in your groin area. And I said, Doc, you know what? As far as I know, there is only one opening in my groin area. If you'll just give me my pants back, I think I'll have that heart attack. But then what they do is they make a small incision here in your, right here at the top of your thigh and in your groin area. And they give you a drug called Versed. V-E-R-S-E-D, ask for it by name. Yeah, a couple of hits of Versed, they could use PVC pipe. Now do the other leg. The valve I got, there were 3 kinds of valves at the time. There was a pig valve, which I couldn't get because, you know, I'm a Southerner. Every time I went past a barbecue place, I'd tear up. The mechanical valve at the time, the most popular, was the St. Jude valve. I'm no Catholic, but I am well aware St. Jude is the patron saint of lost causes. I opted for a human valve. Yep, it's a transplant, a human valve. It's from a donor, either a cadaver or an attorney who wasn't using it. Now, every now and then, someone asks me, well, what's the name of the insurance company that paid so little? I'd tell you, but you know what? That would be slander. And they'd find out about it and would sue me or do something crazy like, I don't know, burn a cross in my front yard. A big blue one. I love that joke. Yes, I went back under the knife on August 15th and had my second valve job and a double bypass. Bonus, it was 2 for Tuesday. Yes, and I actually have again written some funny material about. People go, how can you write jokes about having a heart attack and then a valve job and a double bypass? Well, you guys be the judge. I'm there in the hospital. I was an inpatient for the testing. Okay, so picture this. I've been in inpatient for 3 days, and they're doing all the other tests, and I assume that all the nursing staff knows who I am and what I do for a living because I've met just about everybody. Well, what happened was a woman came back from her several days off. She had no idea who I was or that I did stand-up comedy for a living, but I didn't know that. So she walks in the door late one night, and she says to me, Mr. King, I need to take a look at your groin area. And I said, really? How come it is every nurse comes through that door wants a shot at my groin? I feel like one of those strippers in that movie, Magic Mike. I said, well, you can come over here and get a look at it, but you better have dollar bills. Well, she came over. She was very efficient, very professional. She goes back out to the nurse's station, they told me this later, and says to the people at the nurse's station, okay, I give up. Who's the pervert in 3? They're like, no, he's a comedian. I know he's a comedian. No, he does that for a living. That's what he does for a living. So, I get out of the hospital after the testing. They set me a surgery date. I come back in. It was a Wednesday morning, August 15th, and they you take clothes off and you put the gown on and do it in the back. And man, I'm cracking jokes. I am having a great show. That was my first thought. I'm having a great show. You know, my second thought was, I better. It may be my last. Honest to goodness, that crossed my mind. So, I don't know if you know this, but nowadays they're very concerned about bacteria in the hospital. So, after I got the gown on and all done up, they marched me down to the shower room. The woman's name, the nurse, is Kathy. She takes me in the shower room. She points out the soap and the brush and says, just scrub from here to your waistline. Don't have to bother with your pits. And then she says to me, as she's looking at the gown, she says to me, Mr. King, would you like me to untie you before I leave? I said, Kathy, you know what? If I had $1 for every time somebody asked me that, I think I could cover my deductible. Well, she's been over double laughing because nobody's ever come out with that before. Okay, so I go in to have surgery. I come out, I'm in a regular room, and now the nurses are getting to know me. You know, now everybody knows who I am, what I do for a living. And there's a nurse who's been there forever. She's just given me a drug called Lasix. Not the eye surgery, but it's a diuretic. Are you familiar with Lasix? Okay, it's one thing to take a tablet of Lasix. It's another thing to get a hit in an IV. You get the Lasix hit in that IV, going to the toilet becomes a physical imperative. Very quickly. So she gives me the hit. We're talking back and forth. I'm in the bed, she's standing here. We're talking back and forth, and I can see her looking at her watch. Because she knows there's a we're going to reach critical mass at some point. Finally, she goes, Frank, listen, can I help you to the toilet? And I said, you know what, Esther? Why don't we give it 60 seconds, let the pressure build up? Hell, I think I can hit her from here. Okay, so now I'm out of the hospital. I'm in cardiac rehab because this is the Oregon Heart and Vascular Institute. It's a whole separate hospital, basically, and there's a cardiac rehab place with exercise machines and therapists. My therapist, Debbie, and I are down there, and she sits me in one of the machines. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it's like a bicycle upside down. You sort of pedal with your hands. There's handles, you pedal with your hands. Well, the seat's too far back. So I said, Debbie, the seat's too far back. I can't reach the handles. Well, there's a lever down here between my legs. Yeah, stick it up. And she points at the lever and she goes, you got a little knob there between your legs. I said, Debbie, you know what? If I had $1 for every time somebody told me that, I could cover my deductible. So yeah, that's what's funny about a heart attack. That's just the way that's just the way I see the world. So.